The topic is your child constantly saying, nobody likes me? I mean, this is something you really hear from a child around 8, 9, 10 years of age, and this is typically attributed to the 9-year change. A friend of mine called me saying she was babysitting her grandson, around 9 now, and the boy usually, I mean, this is the case in the present education system, is very intelligent. He can say everything orally. But when it comes to sitting down and writing, even if it is only few sentences, he refuses to. And every time he refuses, we become very anxious. And children borrow my anxiety. And this cycle repeats. So my friend was like, "You're so intelligent." She herself was a teacher, though. She taught in kindergarten for a long, long, long time. And now it's like, "You're already so intelligent. Why don't you write it? You can finish it in 2 minutes. Why don't you finish it?" Same story. The child is coming home anticipating that story. And the more we kind of say it, the more child is going to resist it. But understanding what is happening inwardly in this 9-year old is very important here. They are intelligent, no doubt, they can write, but somehow, until now, until age 9, they would be happy with the tree, with the plant, with the bird, animal. Everything was me, part of me. And that slowly started shifting, around age 7, after the first stage of child development, it started shifting. It's no more me and the world are one. Slowly, something is different. You see that in child using language early on also. The child may say, "Shubha wants the toy, Shubha wants food." And at some point, they start saying, "I want the toy, I want the food." You see that transition happening. That is where the child is saying, Shubha is not part of the world, Shubha is an identity. Shubha stands alone. I'm separate. And this is a pronounced feeling around 9 years of age when suddenly there is fear. My God, I'm all alone. It was safety when I was together with people. Suddenly there is this, and I don't know why it is, but it's happening, internally. My body is organizing itself. Lots of changes are happening in my physical body, in my subtle bodies, and I can't see it. I mean, we were all so beautifully blended with nature growing up, so we just did not notice it. We just did not feel it, but not true anymore, right? We are so removed from the nature, removed from the natural rhythms. Somewhere I start feeling this more. For the first time, they begin experience loneliness, separateness, comparisons come in. Somewhere I don't feel that I belong here. I feel excluded. That is the key. When they say nobody likes me, nobody has ever come and told them explicitly, "I don't like you, I don't like you." It is the feeling within. Somewhere I feel I'm different, and that is scary, right? So these are the invisible questions the child is carrying. Do I belong here? Is it the right place for me? Is something wrong with me? And especially that something wrong with me, children carry for years, you know, and maybe into adulthood also. Am I enough? I don't know enough. Everybody else is getting ahead of me. All these questions are kind of flooding the child. The child has lost, that 8, 7 year old, 6 year old, when they come home, they want to share everything with you and they're showing things that isn't there, because I'm preoccupied. It's not that the child does not want to show, but the child is so preoccupied with these questions, those don't even come into their minds. And suddenly we see a shift in the child. Oh my God, he was sharing everything until 2 months ago. Now he gets into fourth grade, he doesn't want to share anything. We attribute it to the teacher, we attribute it to the school, we even think of changing schools. But the shift is happening within the child. They're going from this dreamy kind of consciousness until 7 years of age, to getting this individuality. Just compare like a 2.5, 3 year olds. They're in their own world. They don't bother who is around, what anybody is saying. They are in that state of consciousness. And suddenly, 9 year old, they are worried. Who is looking at me? What are they saying? They're looking around before they do anything. Somewhere that comparison is kicking in. Comparison matters. I do better than her. If somebody is doing better than me, then I need to compete. This kind of naturally, this is natural growth. They may be a little painful, they're growing pains, but it is required for healthy development. Right? Why does the child feel this rejection so much? Somewhere, they don't have the vocabulary, they don't have the experience, they're unable to distinguish. You know, is it real? Cannot think. We say the thinking, such questions develop only much, much later, 14, 15 years of age. Now, a child walks away, they're playing a game, the child walks away, and I, another child, interpret it as he walked away because he doesn't like me, he doesn't want to play with me, maybe they don't like my shirt. So I cannot distinguish between an event that happened and an identity. And this problem is with us also, even grown up adults, because we have really not gotten over it. You know, if somebody doesn't wish me, a close cousin of mine, we walk into a party, she doesn't even look at me. She maybe even turns her face away and walks away for whatever reason. But I interpret that as my rejection. Right. So this kid that I was talking about earlier, when he started coming home and he doesn't want to do his homework, these days the problem is that we get into the gadget. So the mother decides, okay, grandmother cannot handle the child, so I will do it myself. She's working. She doesn't have as much support from her husband or the family that she lives in. It's a joint family. So now mother is feeling sad. I mean, the grandmother, my friend, is feeling sad because the child was taken away from her. Mother is unable to manage. Father is not there. And then there is a little blame game going around. You must take care of him. You must make him sit and study. You go to the PTM and take the messages from the teacher. How much should I do? All these, somewhere it kind of creeps in my body language, in my subtle language, sometimes even directly, and the child withdraws more. Oh, I am a problem here. I was thinking something is wrong with me. Now it confirms to me that I am the problem. I was taken away from my grandmother. Nobody is there. Parents are fighting. Teachers are complaining. Something is surely wrong with me. And that settles in for a long, long, long time until we, as an adult, truly understand what's bugging me and finally seek some support. So, as a parent, my job is not to say, no, 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 nobody likes you. It's not that nobody doesn't like you. You're such a good friend. You care, you share. It's reassuring. That reassurance is not what the child needs. The child is saying, I'm going through this. Can you see it? The child is not even thinking that. I don't know, something is not right with me. And when I say, no, 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 you have so many friends, they like you, that doesn't feel true. Somewhere, they start losing trust in adults, in us as parents, because you don't understand. You are an adult, you don't understand me. And you're not telling me anything that helps me. So they stop telling us also later. I mean, that is when we got to become really careful. What child actually needs is join the feeling. Oh, really? You feel sad? You don't feel like you have no friends? How does it feel to be without a friend? Must be hard. And I'm sure you want to share this toy with your friend. Maybe you want to bring a friend over. Maybe you want to visit a friend. Yeah, they don't have friends. It sounds very lonely. Just stay with that. It's not that we are encouraging the child to feel more lonely, because this is a passing phase. Don't rush to solve their friendship. Bring people over. Go to the school, saying that my child is bullied by another child. Leave it. They will resolve it. I don't need to advise. I don't need to call another parent, get all paranoid about it. Because somewhere I need to help my child discover I can survive difficult situations. I can go through this. Yes, it happened to me. I stayed through it. And then it just worked out on its own. I didn't really do anything. It just worked out on its own. And that's why we have a saying, right? Time heals. Wait it out. Cloud passes. Every day is not a Sunday. We have so many of these to kind of reassure us that hang in there, right? So once a child feels, yes, I can stay through it, it's okay to not have a few friends, it's okay for a few people to not like me, that builds resilience. I can stay through this. That is my task as a parent, to teach the child, can I stand in the world even if I feel alone? I mean, these days we have that fear, drop of the hat, we withdraw. This stage cannot be skipped. It is difficult for the child. I should not make it difficult for me also, because I understand this is how the development happens. So can I just stay through it? Don't take it very seriously. Don't jump in. Don't get paranoid. Oh, my child is feeling alone. I have the only child. No, because we have talked enough about this. I become anxious. Child absorbs my anxiety unknowingly. This is the unknowing deepening of the wound that I could be doing with my child. So you remain steady. So the child will borrow my steadiness, right? So I need to build this reality. I don't have to reassure the child, but this is how the world is. That's reality. I don't have to say everyone likes you. No. But the truth is that sometimes some people like me. Same with me. I don't like everybody I come across. I like some. I'm very friendly to some other people. Some people I don't want to be as close. That's okay. If I can do it to others, why not others can do it to me? So that's okay. Do you like everybody around you? These are kind of the questions. We just deliberate talk. No debate, no discussions, no in depth philosophy. I'm just trying to separate the event from identity. No matter what, if I have that resilience that I can stand in the world even when I'm feeling lonely, then my mission accomplished as a parent. So some of the times, beautiful stories are there about, exile, how Pandavas were sent on exile, how Rama left his throne, went off in a forest, and how some children go to hostel because they don't have facility at home. Somewhere where the child is separated, they go through it, and you could have stories in the family, where children went to residential schools and they came back doing really well. There are lots of stories that you bring in during this time. As a matter of fact, finding my own path. It was difficult. I failed, but then I took a year off. Then I went off and looked for this. I felt very lonely, but then I got this. So lots of life stories exist around in your family members. It's beautiful too that it connects me to them. Some, like my aunt, my children may not know. But when I share the story, they have reverence for my aunt. So begin sharing those stories. Conversation is one of the key thing in this stage around 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, forever later on. I mean, even to this day, I tell stories of whatever we go through with my children who are 28 and 30. But we need to become a little aware when the child starts withdrawing, not participating in day to day activities, is perpetually sad, does not want to eat. Maybe they're bullied at school, maybe they're teased at school, maybe there's so many other things happening. that is where I need to become careful and I need to become present. That's the biggest present we can give the child. Thank you all very much.